all right. Excuse me. Let me move you. Let me move you. There's something that we need to talk about. Okay, my first impression, or at least the experience that I had with the Samyang 35 150 2 to 2.8 zoom lens, and based on my usage on a wedding, how does it perform against the Tamron, which is my favorite zoom lens at the moment, and I adore that lens. So here we go. There's one thing I like about this lens, and three things I hate about this lens. And spoiler alert, it's going back. It's going back. So let's start with the good. Let's start with the good. Man, it has nothing to do with the lens, but it has to do everything with flying it on a gimbal. Normally I wouldn't do this. It's heavy. It's heavy. But the shots that you get on a gimbal, especially when you're doing details and the compression on a 35 and 150, is just amazing. As a matter of fact, just take a look at the sample footage right now. And that's about it. Probably, okay, so here's the reason why probably I liked it on a gimbal. It's because the zoom is like really loose. Like you really can easily move. But it's the thing that I also don't like. So let's talk about the three things that I don't like about this lens. It's heavy. Like for me, it's actually heavier than my Tamron. But we're gonna leave that as in the bottom. The number one reason, and this is what YouTubers don't tell you, okay? Maybe it's this lens. Maybe I have a copy that needs a firmware update. I'm not gonna try to find out by buying an adapter to actually do a firmware update. That's why I like the Tamron too. You can just plug it in and you can just update the firmware. But the number one reason, autofocus was unreliable. It worked, but was it Sony and Tamron good? In my opinion, in my case, the way I used it, no, it was horrible. It missed shots. I mean, thank God I have 3 different cameras during that shoot. This angle, the camera with this lens, that angle, barely any usable footage. And even I found myself even having issues when I was manually focused and I kept the couple on manual focus. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad lens, but because this a bad copy of this lens, but because this is a bad copy of the lens, it gave me a really bad taste. So, number one, autofocus, reliability, garbage. Garbage. Number two, I locked it. This thing. Again. I don't know about you, but that's annoying. So, nah. Number three, it's heavier than the Tamron. And I don't know, feels cheaper than the Tamron. And I'm maybe nitpicking, but not the first reason alone, this is going back. And notice how I didn't talk about image quality. It really doesn't matter, okay? Especially because if you shoot in log and if you color grade and you alter the image, really does image matter? Yes, it has a decent image. The image was okay, but it's not good enough for me to keep, because where I needed to work is with autofocus and it failed me bad. So yeah, my experience with The Samyang 35-150, not a good one. And for that reason, this is going back. Peace.